So I really felt compelled to start talking about this like last night, and I kind of just ignored it, but I still want to talk about it. But timeline shifting. Yeah, hang on. So you guys may have come across this before, like the Berenstain bears. And by the way, I'm just putting this video up because I don't know how to make a 3-minute TikTok. Anyway, yeah. So Berenstain bears, like loads of people remember it as Berenstein, Stein bears, and there's a bunch of other stuff like that. And I heard somebody else's TikTok basically saying, well, why then is it just stupid stuff like Berenstein bears? Like, why is that like the difference that we all remember as opposed to things that actually improve your life? But that's the thing is when you do shift timelines, there's going to be stuff like that. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff like that for people coming up in the future, and not necessarily like cultural things that we quote unquote remember differently. And the reason that, not everybody remembers it as Berenstein bears, for example. Some people, say they do. It was always Berenstain, and the people's names were Berenstain, and in this reality, I guess that's true, but it was Berenstein for a lot of people. And because I believe those people shifted into this reality, and there's a lot of people shifting right now, basically. It's all over TikTok. A lot of people, spiritual or not, have been letting go of things, releasing things like healing, doing a lot of shadow work, releasing toxicity. And as they're doing that, they are shifting timelines. And so that's why there's more and more people. So it's kind of like, those other realities still exist, and we are those realities, all of them. And that's kind of like how time is essentially not linear. That's what they mean by that, because all of those realities are still happening, even though essentially that was like a past self for us, right? We'll say the Berenstein self as opposed to the Berenstain self that we're at right now. And I think people are going to continue shifting. So, but why does it only happen with Berenstein? It doesn't. It's loads of things, but it's the cultural pieces that we are all going to be able to recognize and kind of twig on and have like a larger conversation about, as opposed to like things that happened in your personal past that maybe, somebody else would remember differently. I think that kind of stuff happens all the time. I'd seen another TikTok of these people posting about like this couple who had gone to visit their friends, and they had gone to like this particular lake or something like that. And they both have very distinct memories of going and visiting this lake. And then, years later, they saw those same friends, and they were like, they asked about that lake, going back out to that lake. And the friends were like, we have no idea what you're talking about, right? Like that never happened. And so, that kind of reality shifting happens all the time for people. And it is more likely for us to be able to spot it with people like that we haven't seen in several years. And then you just have totally different like memories of actually like what happened. But if you are experiencing that, these sort of non-conformities in terms of memory or our experience of something, or having experienced something that maybe nobody else remembers. Ask yourself, have you been doing like a tremendous amount of work? And is your life kind of fundamentally different than it was, 6 months, a year, or 2 years, whatever ago? And if you have made a lot of transformation and progression and personal growth, and you're remembering things differently now than other people do, perhaps it's not a sign that you're crazy. Though, I know everybody's terrified of spiritual psychosis, and I honestly think that, people at certain points along this journey can slip in and out of that. I've definitely had, early on in my spiritual awakening, I went a little bit, close to walk that line, I'll just say. But at any rate, it's scary going through like a spiritual awakening. And because, you want to validate yourself and your experience and feel like you're not crazy, but just know you're not crazy, right? We are all experiencing this and you're not alone. Okay.